Hey everyone, welcome to Feed Your Brand Live on International Women's Day. And I have one of my favorite people to hang out at events with and cover the red carpet or wherever we're going to cover, Dr. Marissa Pei. And you are a radio phenom and a podcast phenom. You are an award-winning podcast host. Yeah, and so you have a great podcast. I love the name of it. It's Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It, Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa Pei. I love that title.
Thank you. I do too.
Yeah.
And it gives me permission not to follow my own advice.
There you go.
And you are one of my favorite people too.
Thank you.
Hazard, amazing superwoman extraordinaire.
Oh, thank you so much. I love that we get to do that we get to operate in the same circles. But I want to talk a little bit about your background too, because you have got quite the resume here. You're an organizational psychologist. You speak and consult all over the world. You're trying to get people to be happy 88% of the time, and we're going to talk about that.
Yeah.
You have a best-selling book, and I think you told me it just made a big list, right?
Yes, it did. Number 4 on Denver Post, number 1 on Amazon.
Woohoo! Yeah.
Yes.
So it's 8 Ways to Happiness, and this is the part I love. From wherever you are. There you go. The perfect author here because she's holding her book. So yeah, but I love the title of that one as well. I've written an article on you in Thrive Global, specifically about that book. I loved the book. It was one of my favorite ones that I read last year. You have, the list of awards are outstanding, but I really want to just dive right in and get to, it is, you're named the Asian Oprah. And I love that because you are just putting yourself out there and you know what? We're seeing a lot of really powerful Asian women emerging, and I love that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, we had like an entire ancestry of not talking and not be seen and walking behind, and the nail that stands up is hammered down. So now that we're over that,
we're moving on.
We have some permission and some encouragement to speak out. I was actually introduced to Oprah as the Asian Oprah by Michael Bernard Beckwith. So that was like an amazing, and then her response was to smile, look down and say, nice pants. And so my biggest dilemma was not saying, do you want them? To prove you, but I didn't say that. And I'm just so grateful. What an honorable moniker that is. She single-handedly has changed, the whole beautiful fullness direction. I attribute introducing spirituality to the mainstream to her and her ability. And this is why I aspire to be real and to be kind. And I think she is really kind, real and kind and powerful and no apologies. And also, takes her past and her pain. And as I say in my book, pain in life is mandatory, but suffering's optional. And she's a true, absolute example of that. And so I'm honored every time someone says,
right. So this is what you'll find that her book is full of those type of soundbite, wonderful phrases that stick in your head and also just really funny. You're funny in person, but you're funny. You come across funny on paper too, which is hard to do.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, this is the thing. It's like so much of what you've been able to accomplish, and you've been podcasting for quite some time, since
388 consecutive weeks on the air.
Wow.
Yeah, just a few.
Just a few.
So great. Just a few. 2016, I won the Podcast of the Year Top 10 in Health Award. I continue to be recognized. And this is why it's important for me, because I truly want to balance out all the CNN constantly negative news, that's on there, that are constantly bringing people down. And it's not really the media's fault, because we gravitate towards horror or, bad things that happen. And so we're spinning in this negativity as a country, as a nation, as a world. And so it's my job single-handedly to balance out, not single-handedly, but to draw people to me who absolutely want to balance out all the bad news with what's good with life, what's good with you, what's good with everything that's around us. And I love that. That's my job.
Well, and as we were talking about the, Asian women, I just read a statistic yesterday that 80% of the billionaires, 80% of the women billionaires are in Asia.
Really?
Yes.
Crazy rich Asians.
There are not enough women billionaires as it is, but 80% of them are Asian. So, we wouldn't, having a diverse perspective as you approach your show, as you approach the media, as approach what you do is so extremely important, because you're then exposing everyone else to things that they might not have heard or seen. And that's what I love most about my ability to write my columns is that, and I now have a third column, by the way, Authority Magazine. We'll have to get you featured there. And so
people ask me if I sleep. I am turning to you and saying, because your kids are younger than mine. I take mine out. I've got an empty nest. I don't know how you do it. But
so I'm sleeping less now because, as you know, I got a puppy. But the kids sleep great. It's the puppy that's keeping me up, because that last minute potty trip at night is like, that midnight feeding, right? It's the same thing.
Right.
So,
absolutely.
but what that's what I love best about my columns and about my writing is that I get to expose to great people who are doing really fun things and interesting things that I find inspiring that not everybody would hear about otherwise. And so it's great to not just have that, to have that diversity going on. And that's what I love about my women podcasters that I'm highlighting today.
Oh, well, thank you so much. And it's perfect timing too to talk about the Asian, because Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill, classic, has Think and Grow Rich for women, Think and Grow Rich for Black choices, Latin choices, and it didn't have Asian choices until now. John Shin, who you know as well, and another one of my big brothers, he wrote, and it's coming out, Think and Grow Rich, Asian Choices. And guess who's in it?
There you go.
And guess who's going on tour? So we're going all over the world, including China and Japan. 15 U.S. cities, 12 countries in the next year and a half, because we want everyone to know that they have the ability to think and grow rich. And so our school system, our public school system, is inadvertently teaching people to be good at one thing so that you can work for somebody and be an expert in something, but you never really, you have a job, J-O-B, just over broke. So it's so important for all of us to recognize that we can do and have everything that we want. And so the principles that Napoleon Hill shared, the longest standing self-development business success book, is going to be shared all over. And I'm part of that. And I'm so proud of that, because I want everyone. I don't want this, the top 3% of the population is in control of 97% of us. No more. That's BS. That's a belief system and the way it is, whose time has come. So I just wanted to offer everyone that's watching, if you go to tgrworldtour.com, I'll save you. It's my Asian Oprah giveaway. I'll save you $200 on the tickets. So if you just go there and use DRM for Dr. Marissa, and you'll save $200, because I want to see you on tour. This is such an important effort. It's not a get motivated, rah thing. It's truly about educating the masses so that everyone doesn't go hungry. Everyone has the wealth that they want, or the success that they want. Sorry, that was a commercial.
No, but you know what? That's so true. And I'm glad you do it, because, that's one thing that I think that I've been inspired by you. You are a great promoter. And you know what? That's because, look at us. Not to be outdone, you had to get your flag, even though the mic's not hooked up, right? You had to get your flag out. And I love that, because you know what? That's so important, because you know what? If we don't get our message out, then we aren't going to have the impact we want to have. And that's not about sales. That is about making sure that we're sharing.
Yes. And that's such an important point, because selling and promoting has gotten a bad name, because who do you think you are? And you shouldn't toot your own horn, especially as women.
Yes.
International Women's Day, especially as women. And then that's BS. It's a belief system that keeps women behind. It keeps us down. It keeps us under the, radar. And the reality is every one of us, 7.3 billion of us, have a unique talent, gift, and ability. But you can be really good at what you do. But if you don't share what it is, nobody knows. And so especially women, I hope we have enough time. I just wanted to share this one thing. Okay, good. Because many women think they are not as good looking, not as smart, and not as thin as they are. Okay, so this is a women thing. Most women, you go to the gym.
Our perception's all skewed.
It is. They walk by. They don't want to look at them. Someone pays you a compliment as a woman, and you're like, oh, like nice hair. Oh, I didn't wash it today. Or nice. Oh, got $1 at a swap. It's like, just take compliment. Now, men on the other think they are hair than we do. And so this ability that men have, that's why I call it Have a Guy Day, because we do have something to learn from them. The ability to be in denial is not a bad thing when it comes to being good with us. Women have to start believing and seeing themselves differently than we do. We don't do anyone a service by playing small. We don't do anyone a service by being, hard on ourselves or humble or, that's stop it.
Stop it. Yeah, that's what I really loved about podcasting when I first started. And so I, like you, have been doing this a while. And so we've been doing this, I think, 5 years now. And and I loved the idea that, oh, well, it's just my voice at first. I was not really comfortable on the camera part of it. It seemed like too much setup for me, to be honest with you. I got the camera, I got to comb my hair, that. I was like, but nobody knows what I look like. And my voice is fine. So at least I didn't have a hang up on that. But, going out and just putting yourself out there and starting to do that gave me the next level of confidence, which was, wow, let's just go live. What's the difference there? And so I remember the very first live stream. It's funny that you said that about men, thinking that. So the very first live stream I ever did for our 3D print podcast, and Tom and I did it, and we were in our studio showing off our equipment and things like that for 3D printing geeks. And so we get this message back on the live stream from one of our fans, who we knew was a fan because he'd been messaging us all along. Right. And so he'd been a fan since the very beginning. And he said to me, wow, that's not what I imagined you and Tom looked like. And I answered back and I said, well, what did you think we looked like? And he said, I thought you were taller and I thought Tom had more hair. and so I started laughing. I laughed back and I sent a message back saying, well, we both think we are, have more hair and are taller. So we're good.
Yes. I know people would say to me, you have a face for radio. As a mean joke.
Yeah.
And this is the thing. This is why it's so important for women to stop being so hard on themselves, is because if you're a person that says, I'm the hardest on myself, I'm my own worst critic, I'm not harder on anybody else than I am on myself. And most women will say that, men too, but it's International Women's Day. So I'm going to talk to the women. If you're a person that says that, look at me right now. Stop it. It doesn't serve you to be so hard on yourself. There's a beautiful Native American Indian saying that says, when there is no enemy within, then no one outside can hurt you. So because we carry these BS belief systems that are negative about ourselves, and it could have most likely started, the 7 out of 10 of us who had childhood trauma most likely started there. We carry that into our present. So we're constantly looking for love in all the wrong places. We're constantly looking for approval over there or over here or over there. And you're never going to get it because they're focused on their own reality show. I want you to be focused on your own reality show. What do you do good? At the end of the day, don't think about all the things that you forgot to do or didn't do or shouldn't have said this or shouldn't have said that. Think of the things that you did well, and you can go, wow, I finished this, or I started this, or I was kind, or I was smart, or I was funny. And the more you can reinforce who you really are, because that's who you really are, then the more you can shine bright, the more you can be who you are, the more you can smile and laugh, which is what life is all about. The more you can love and care and wonder and create and be. So there's your sermon for the day.
But you know what? The theme today is balance for better. And I added life and harmony because I'm a fan of balance not being an alone thing, because it's incredibly hard to hold a balanced pose forever by yourself. Right. Yes. And so, I know you've gone through a lot in your life. I know that from reading your book, and you've had a lot of opportunities that you've had to shift everything, rebalance, find your new harmony again. And it changes over time. And I think that's a really important lesson that you have. And would you share just a little bit about that? Because
sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
And my license plate says balance. My website is 4balance.org. And so balance to me is one of the keys to happiness, because people think if, I'll be happy when, or, when I finish this, I will be happy, or when this gets done, or when my kids are out of college, or when, my parents are well again, or when I finish this, or when I have the house. And you're always in this place of never enough.
Yeah.
Never enough, because even when you get that, oh, but I didn't do this, or this still needs to get done. So my definition of balance is having what you want and wanting what you have. There's the key.
I love that. Wanting what you have. Yeah.
And having what you want.
Yeah.
So that's the prescription for the dis-ease of perfectionism. And many of us, especially high achieving women, are perfectionists. And perfectionism is the upside of that is it gives you the impetus to finish things or accomplish things or achieve things. The bad news about it is you're always in that place of it's not done, it's not finished. And when you end up in your deathbed, and they all say, that every single successful person has said, I wish I had spent more time in their relationships, or I wish I had spent more time appreciating what I had. That's the number one, the woulda, shoulda, coulda. So I'm here. You don't have to wait till your deathbed. You can start right now. Take that breath and go, right now, I want to appreciate who I am, where I am, what I have in the fullness of life, and who I am and what I have and where I am. And when I can do that 88% of the time, then I am successful. I don't have to wait to be successful. I had a caller. I started a new show. I don't know if you know that.
I didn't know that. You didn't put that in your info here.
I didn't. I haven't had time.
What's the new show?
It's called Don't Worry, Choose Happy. And it's a strict call-in show. So 816-251-3555. Every Thursday.
We'll put that in the post, guys. So don't write it down if you're traveling.
I will do that. And it's just for people who want to balance their life tires. Talk about balance. And I give advice that I don't use all the time, but 88% of the time. But it's so important, especially for women, to realize who they are, whose they are, how good they are. Exactly. And one of the callers was, I don't know what my purpose is in life. And, she's 60. And I'm like, darling, you've had several purposes already, and revel in that. You have a purpose. You're living your purpose. All of us are living our purpose. You know what our fundamental purpose is? To enjoy life. That's our fundamental purpose. Are you loving where you are 88% of the time? Are you tasting delicious food? Are you listening to gorgeous music? Are you seeing Mother Nature showing off? Are you hugging and holding and touching and feeling little puppies or children? Or, that is the purpose of life. right? All the things that we're succeeding, the feeling of achievement, that's a purpose. Right.
And you say 88%. You mentioned it again, and I want to get back to that because I love that it's not 100%, because you know what? That's like that perfect balance. Like I'm going to hold a pose on one foot all by myself forever. That's not what you're talking about here.
No. If you're 100% happy, you're dead. So you don't want, I don't want you dead, right? And the reason why I say 88% is it's pretty up there. And 8 is actually a lucky number in Mandarin, in Chinese. I know you thought I was Swedish, but I'm actually Chinese. And 8 is a homonym for good fortune. So 88 is double good fortune. So that's our good fortune as human beings in life, is to be in joy and enjoy our lives 88% of the time. That's why we're alive. That's why we're here. We don't have to, we somehow got hijacked and distracted by the message that, the only way to be successful is to either be an MVP pro player or a rock star or have giant houses and, multiple cars. And that's the only definition of success. I use Emerson's definition of success because I love it so much. It's to laugh often and much. To know that one life has breathed easier because you have lived. So I'm successful every single freaking day because I love to laugh.
You do. That's why that's why you're so fun to hang out with, right?
Yeah.
So, well, Dr. Marissa Pei, thank you so much for being on my show today and sharing International Women's Day with me, because I love the women in my life and I love the women in my network. They're just amazing, and I want you all to hear from them. Go find them. Your show is on iHeart. It's on Spotify, right? And it's everywhere, just everywhere. Like all of those other podcasts. Right. Yes. So take my advice. Take my advice. I'm not using it. What's the other one?
Don't worry, choose happy.
Don't worry, choose happy. I got to check the new one out.
Yeah. Thursday, just call in. Tell the screener that you're a friend of mine. He'll bump you up to the top.
You go.
And just Doc Balance on Instagram, and then go to Facebook to Dr. Marissa. Give me the finger. This one.
Yep.
And then we'll stay connected. And please do join me all the places that we're going on tour. TGR World Tour. Use DRM to save.
Well, and that's it. I will be sure to push you out on LinkedIn because I have a large Asian community in LinkedIn. So as you travel around the world, we want them to join you and find you. That's really, really important.
I love that. So grateful for you.
Thank you.
Love you so much. Peace in, peace out. That's world peace through inner peace.
Thank you so much today. Happy International Women's Day.
And back at ya.